Alright, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you got a chance to watch that fight last night. Artur Beterbiev retains his belts. I know he's got 3 of them. He's got the WBC, IBF and WBO belts. He retained those in a one-sided beatdown of Callum Smith in another great performance. He goes 20-0 with 20 knockouts. He's the only champion currently in boxing to do it. What a fighter. And look, Callum Smith, we've got to give our credit to him. He fought bravely. He came to win. That was all I was hoping for him to do, really. You know, just come and try to win. And he tried. He fought gallantly. But you're fighting a bear. You're not fighting a human being, bro. He is, Eddie Hearn said that. Not about the bear comment, but he's like, this isn't a human being. Beterbiev is an absolute savage man. You cannot get this guy off you. That's one of the things that makes it so hard to fight, because you can't get him off you. You need, like, you know, people spoke about Callum Smith as a power puncher. Look, his power didn't have really much effect on Beterbiev. He couldn't really get his offense going. A lot of that was probably down to inactivity, to be honest with you. You know, Beterbiev's defense was a lot better. He was stepping back. He had his hands up responsibly. And Smith was, you know, not able to really land too many clean shots. But let's start from the beginning. Round 1, Beterbiev didn't take any time. You got him on the rope straight away, backed him up. And as we spoke about in the pre-fight, I'm like, if Callum Smith gets on the ropes and does this, he's probably done. But, you know, he was doing something, Callum Smith. There was a little scare in the first round, but he was doing something where, like, he was moving around like that, which was something he wasn't doing against Canelo. So they did actually neutralize Beterbiev a little bit, but Beterbiev's so good, he was still able to get those shots in between. But the first round, look, I was thinking, man, this could be over early. But Smith, fair play to him. Look, he kept his composure, and he kept his just ability to just hang in there and not get too flustered, even when he was getting attacked in that first round. And that's something that Beterbiev makes his opponents fight so frantically, and Smith fought less frantically than most, at least earlier on. And I was like very impressed. You know, I think the ring size was definitely a factor. It was a pretty small ring. When you're fighting Beterbiev, you don't want a smallish ring. It wasn't the smallest, but it was, you could, those 2 big guys as well, you know, or bigger guys, and it made it look smaller, but especially Smith's stature. But he found himself constantly, you know, either like Beterbiev was able to break that distance far too easily. You got to have something to keep him honest. His accuracy was a little off, you know, as I mentioned, his inactivity was probably part to do with that. But look, it was one of those fights that I remember back in the HBO days, they used to say, you know, it was a one-sided competitive fight. I think this was that. I'm not saying the fight was competitive. It was very one-sided, but Smith was in there doing the best he could and not looking completely outmatched, is what I mean. He probably had an opportunity to win the second. You could, if there's a 1 round in there, maybe, you know, he definitely outworked Beterbiev a little bit. But look, Beterbiev's got so many tools in the kit, right? He could box off the back foot, and this is, his intelligence is getting so much. He's getting so much smarter because he was taking his time. And then, you know, in the 4th, Smith got in a bit of trouble. Okay, it looked like, you know, his face was starting to bleed, and or his mouth was bleeding, or his nose, and he just you know, he still was looking like, you know, I can do this. He didn't have a totally out of his depth look on his face, but you could see the tide turning a little bit in the 4th, and or not the writing on the wall, but just you know, quite like some worrying moments. But Beterbiev backed off a little bit in the 5th and the 6th, and just that's the IQ, you know, he's and the ability to do that, summoning his amateur experience, and just he understands it's 12 rounds. You know, you got 12 rounds with this guy. Listening to John Scully on the Pro Box TV talking about some of that's one of his Beterbiev's other trainers, talking about some of the sparring stories, how he would say, you know, sparring partners would be counting the days till they can go home, because it's such hard work with this guy. And in a fight, in a 12-round fight, you've got to fight this guy at some point, and at many points. And Smith he was doing the best he could. Do you know what I mean? I think, you know, Beterbiev was very sneaky on that entrance too. He has these subtle, awkward, like half steps, shuffles in, comes with the jab. His jab was killer tonight. He was out jabbing Smith. He was out landing, out jabbing, out fighting, out thinking, you know, in every department. He's a special fighter. You know, he really is. And we'll talk about the Bivol fight at the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think. Did you watch this fight? I hope you did. If so, let me know your thoughts on his performance. How did you feel about Callum Smith? So many people were actually, to be honest, I never really gave Smith much of a chance. Respectfully, you know. I was like, yeah, if he's got a chance, maybe early on, but I didn't really at any point ever entertain seriously a Smith win. I was like, I just didn't think he had enough power to keep Beterbiev off. I didn't think, you know, the inactivity was a thing, but not for me. It's just like, you've got to fight this guy, and it's not really Smith's game. Do you know what I mean? He can fight, don't get me wrong, but you're talking about a grizzly bear. This isn't a human being. This is a special fighter, and he's disciplined outside the ring. He's getting smarter. He's powerful. You can't keep him off you. You know, if you're trying to, even Smith, like when he was a couple of occasions where he did try to clinch, and I was like saying, you can't. It's hard to clinch this guy because he's so physically strong, and he's got these awkward chopping shots from everywhere. He's got every punch in the book. A beautiful jab, straight right hands to the belly, chopping shots like that, just whipping them around, every uppercuts like that. It wasn't as much, but he was getting those shots in. He finds a way. That's why, like, if you're going to beat this guy, you got to be a pure boxer. Bivol has got the best chance, obviously. A bloody good fighter. We'll see if he's great. Well, you know, Beterbiev mentioned in the post-fight that he didn't think he was great, and he didn't think Bivol was great, but that winner of that fight would announce their greatness. We could have an amazing year this year. We really could. There's so many good fights to be had. And, like, you know, there were good fights last year, but the fights themselves didn't quite materialize to great fights because of, you know, the one-sidedness, the one-sided nature of it. But, you know, we could have some absolutely sensational fights. And Bivol Beterbiev, there's none better than that. But just in terms of the fight still, I think Callum Smith, it was weird watching all of his punches like just not land, you know. Like, got to give Beterbiev credit, really. He disciplined, kept his hands up and stepped back when he needed to. And like I said, Smith's inactivity with the accuracy, but he was also at times kind of moving forward, trying to land these combinations whilst walking forward, and it just looked like a lot of the steam was taken out of his punches. His jab was, look, I don't know what the game plan was really, to be honest, because he was like not moving as much or using his jab as much as I thought he probably could have. But then a lot of that's down to Beterbiev and closing the gap and making you change your game plan quickly and have to, you know, fight on the spot. And look, Smith, he's a game fighter. He took some shots in there and he took a brutal uppercut. It looked brutal. He caught it right on the neck. But Smith said post-fight that he didn't really feel the power until he got hurt. Chopping right hand, that's one of Beterbiev's best punches. He just shoots a short shot inside, counter punch. He can counter punch as well. Counter punch. He's smart, he's strong, he's powerful. He's got heart, gets off the canvas. What can't this guy do? I think, right, let's talk about the Bivol fight, because that is an amazing fight, and Bivol absolutely has got the tools to beat him. You know, I would, you know, just briefly before we talk about that, everyone's talking about Beterbiev's age post-Yard fight. I didn't think so. I just thought Yard's a fresh, athletic, powerful guy. He could probably do that to anybody. But Beterbiev, I mean, you can say what age he is, but it doesn't matter, because he's so disciplined, so clean living, and so healthy, and just spiritually on point, you know. It could be 34, 35 really, in terms of average, or, you know, just because he's 38, I wouldn't necessarily use that as oh, he's 38, he's getting up there, but, you know, he treats his body like a 30-year-old. That might not make sense, but you know what I mean. It could feel like a younger man because of how clean he lives and has lived for his whole career. You know, that's plays a man. You can get so many more years. I mentioned in my pre-fight that you get old overnight. Most do, but not everybody. I forgot to say that. And this is you're seeing the effects of that. And maybe it will happen at one fight. It's got to, really. Maybe, but not maybe for a few years from now. Beterbiev still on the top of his game. Just took out a former ex-champion, former world champion. in convincing fashion. Didn't really get out of gear 2 or 3 really. And Smith, you know, if you look, like, he was keeping his composure, but he was shifting through the gears way more than he would have liked to. And then, as I said, 7th round, chopping right hand, and you know, once he dropped him, that was all she wrote. And then he's got you on the ropes. You know, I compared him to a spider before. Now I've compared him to a bear. But either way, they've got you in their lair, and they just dismantle you. And it's just a matter of time. And then Buddy McGirt, rightfully so, came in, saved his man. No complaints from Smith. He was walking a bit, you know, a bit shaky on the legs. And Beterbiev wins 20 wins in a row, all by knockouts. Still holds his belts. Respect to him. Respect to Callum Smith. That's the type of fight you can lose and it'll be fine. Your stock will still go up slightly, I think, for Smith. You know, he fought bravely, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. You're fighting a potential all-time great, definitely a potentially great fighter from our era, one of the best light heavyweights in our era, maybe one of the best ever. If he can get the undisputed fight with Bivol, win that, and you know, stay undefeated, you got to put him up there surely. But the Bivol fight, wow. Thing is with Bivol, now it's like the size of the ring for me would be a big factor in that fight, as it always is when you're fighting a pressure fighter that can close the distance so much, because you want to be able to breathe a little bit. Bivol, superb on his feet. The footwork, the jab, the lead hand is going to be the difference. You know, I don't think Beterbiev is going to have dealt with anybody with such a great lead hand, such a great jab, such a great ability to step in and step out. Distance control, you know, and Bivol can do that. He's got quicker feet than Beterbiev. I'm not sure if he's smarter, to be honest with you. Beterbiev is intelligent, and that's developed, and you can develop your IQ as a boxer. You can. It takes a while, but you can definitely do it. And once you get that, I mean, it's just like it looks almost unbeatable, really. But Bivol also looks a bit unbeatable. So let's hope they get them in the ring. Let's hope Mauricio Suleiman actually comes back down to planet Earth and stop pandering to the absolute BS that he's holding this fight off. It's not neither of these fighters' responsibility in terms of why that fight shouldn't be sanctioned. It's just awful to cast somebody out because of someone else's behavior. You know, it's got nothing to do with them politically. You know, they just want to fight and they just want to earn their money. Mauricio Suleiman just getting in the way. You know, he's just, you know, I won't say any more in case YouTube gets all funny about it, but do you know what I mean? That fight should be happening. It's not their fault. Don't punish fighters for their world leaders or whatever. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that fight. Let me know what you think. I'm buzzing right now. I watched it again this morning. I watched it last night, and like, it's always a good time to do a post-fight interview after you just watched the fight, because it just excites me. Anyway, that is it from me. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's Sunday. Peace and love. Boxing on the Edge. I'm out.